Hey everybody, I'm Tim here with the Flat Earth Daily Edition by Oscar. You're watching Cigars Daily. Get more out of this in all our videos when you join the community on Cigars Daily Plus and when you watch this on Rumble. I don't want to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist, but the Earth is definitely flat. At least it is when it comes to the Flat Earth by Oscar, which is literally a flat version of the round Earth by Oscar. You see, as part of the Daily Edition project, we created with Oscar Valladares a blend called the Earth, and then came up with this quippy fun idea to box press it into a very squared shape and call it the Flat Earth. And regardless of what your views of the actual shape of the Earth is, when it comes to Oscar's Daily Edition, you get to have it both ways. Today I want to go inside the Flat Earth by Oscar because truthfully, this is a box pressed version of the same blend of the round Earth cigar, but still quite a different cigar. And this really all centered around what happens to a blend when you box press it. You take a round cigar and you put the filler leaves together, you roll them up into the binder, and then they press them into a round shape and put the wrapper leaf on. It literally goes in that order, but when they box press a cigar, they press them squared with the wrapper leaf on, and in order to keep the wrapper from exploding off the cigar, they include a different blend of filler on the inside. This one has less of some leaves, and for that reason, the flavor profile changes quite a bit. This would be like if you took like a cupcake recipe and changed the proportion of sugar in the recipe. They'd be a little more sweet, maybe a little less sweet, and so it gives us a different overall experience with the cigar, and that's what we're going to go inside today. The big question is the Earth better round or flat? And that's something that's really up to each person who has experienced Oscar's Earth and Flat Earth. And so today I want to dive into this cigar and see what are the differences. I've already reviewed the Earth by Oscar on here. It's a Daily Edition blend. You guys know I thought it was really quite a balanced cigar, but the question about this is, can it provide the same kind of balance with an interesting and unique experience to the Earth? And the only way to find out is with a cut and a light. At the outset of the Flat Earth, the thing that comes across on this blend the most is sweetness. You see, it's called Earth because it has this very earthy note to it, and that really is the characteristic note of the original Earth by Oscar, but the Flat Earth comes across with this front of the tongue, very smooth, almost a vanilla sweetness, but not quite vanilla sweetness, but it's nice, even sweet flavor at the outset. Then behind that is that earth note with some cedar, a little bit of almonds in the mix there, and then on the retrohale, some of that vanilla becomes a little bit more clear. A big part of the reason that this sweetness appears at the front of the flavor on this cigar is because of the filler leaf, a filler from the Copan growing region of Honduras, which is known for growing leaf with really quite a sweet nature to it. And so there's no infusion or anything on this cigar, but it just kicks off with that nice balanced sweetness that's a little bit further forward. It's the first thing that tastes in the profile, but of course we got to dive into the first third and see where this takes us. So in the first third, a fully developed flavor on this comes with some really nice balance. It really strikes a nice balance, all the flavor notes going on here, along with complexity, but not a tremendous amount of different notes going on. Still a very evenly drawn out sweetness. It hits at the tip of the tongue, rolls across the tongue, cedar, almonds on there, on the retrohale, a little vanilla, now also a little bit of cinnamon mixed in. And in the midst of all that, this nice earthy note that really completes a dynamic flavor profile. It's not just one vein of flavor notes. There's flavor notes from all the different parts of the flavor wheel, and that's interesting. Now, that's the all-around flavor of this very medium-bodied Corojo cigar. Here's how it's different than the round Earth. The round Earth as a Corojo with a sun-grown Honduran Corojo wrapper has a little bit more of a back of the throat spice and pepper on the retrohale kick that the Flat Earth just does not have. I think that it's sort of a depends on which world the aficionado lives in. Does someone really want a cigar with a little bit more pepper and spice, or with a little bit smoother, a little bit more presence of sweetness, which is what I'm finding here in the Flat Earth. And we haven't even gotten to the second third. That's sort of like best part of the cigar where the flavor's hitting its best balance. There could even be transitions here, but of course, let's dive into that second third and see where this takes us. Making the way into the second third of this cigar, the flavor just mixes basically perfectly. All those flavor notes, they're not muddy. They're still like nice, clean, clear, differentiated flavor notes. That earth, the sweetness, that cedar on the tongue, almonds. Everything's still very much there, but just in excellent balance. That's really what the middle of the cigar with a lot of blends is about. And with this one particular, for a box press cigar, it's just burning as perfectly as it can. The draw on this, and consistently with these, I've seen the draw be about a perfect like 6.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. A little bit of resistance required, not too much pull, and definitely not too loose. All around the construction on this cigar, the flavor profile, it hits the mark for balance, complexity, solid construction all the way through. At least it does up until this point. It's still got a little bit of work to do here, but of course, take a look at the wrapper on this with me. This Honduran sun-grown Corojo wrapper is a bit of a pale brown color. Unlike a lot of very vivid, vibrant browns that you see in Habanos, this sun-grown Corojo just runs a little bit more, I don't know, earth colored. And maybe some of that is the effect of that earth tone ring on the cigar. The band that says Flat Earth Daily Edition by Oscar is actually made of a paper that's made out of the tobacco leaf. It's one reason that people come and look to Leaf by Oscar and Earth by Oscar and now the Flat Earth by Oscar, is because that's something that can actually be, you can leave it on the cigar while you smoke it. You don't have to take it off at any point. It's a very fascinating like change to the flavor as well. Adds this almost sweet almondiness to it. And I'm about to get into that. I'll include that here in this review because that's been such a popular point with, fans of this cigar. But of course, all the way through this, the presentation is true to what Oscar is about, which is that kind of like homegrown sort of look and feel to his cigars. It's a rugged, rustic thing, sort of like Earth. All right, now I want to take you guys into the final third, of course, to see where this takes us and what kind of score it gets. The final third of this gives a couple of different experiences here, and it's sort of twofold. One of them is getting through that leaf-made cigar ring. As I go through that, there's a very distinct flavor, as I mentioned in the second third, that comes with this. People even mention it to me. You can smell the aroma in the air. Terrence always comes into my office and goes, "You're smoking an Earth by Oscar, aren't you?" Because he can smell that sort of like almondy sweetness in the air. And so going through that gives a little bit of a flavor transition sort of artificially to the cigar. And then after that, in the final third, I'm still getting a surprisingly vivid amount of this flavor profile. Sweetness still very present on the palate, with some of that cedar across the retrohale. Even that what's often a delicate note, vanilla, is there, and all that earthiness comes through very clearly. All the way around, this performs surprisingly well from light up, where there's a little bit of time for flavor development, and into the final third where a couple of notes sort of fall into the background, into obscurity. So it lost a couple points for consistency. For a box press cigar, it performed surprisingly well on burn and draw and a lot of other things that box press cigars can have some issues with. But really the key feature of this cigar is a flavor profile that expresses what an earth type flavor note would be, along with really nice present sweetness in an all Honduran cigar. My final smoking time on this has been 57 minutes on the Robusto size, and my score came out to a 92. Of course, I've been a part of this project, and so I'm biased for it. I mean, it's something that we've dreamed about together, and now it's in reality, and that is special to me at the very least. But what really matters here is what aficionados think of this. So if you've had the Earth or Flat Earth by Oscar, drop a comment down below and let everybody know what you think of it, because we'll all learn better when we learn together. And of course, check this video out on the community on Cigars Daily Plus. and on Rumble. Thanks again so much for watching. This is Tim, signing off for Cigars Daily, and I will see you in the comments.